You talk too much. You explain too much. And every time you do, you bleed power into the hands of those who don't deserve it. The more you justify yourself, the more you reveal your need for approval. And that, my friend, is weakness disguised as honesty. Machiavelli warned of this centuries ago. Power is not defended by words, but by perception. The silent man is feared because he cannot be read. He does not chase validation, he commands it. Every moment you remain silent, the world starts to wonder what you're thinking, and that curiosity is leverage. When you stop explaining, you create space. In that space, your mystery grows, and with it, your influence. Let others speak, rant, and justify. You stay still, a storm behind calm eyes. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's a message. I do not owe you my truth. Those who misunderstand you expose their own insecurity. Those who respect your quiet begin to feel your strength. The less you say, the more they listen. So, when they demand your reasons, smile. Give them nothing. Let silence speak for you. Comment below if you understand this truth. My silence is strategy. Number 1. The psychology of control. Control begins where emotion ends. The moment you react, you surrender. The moment you explain, you reveal the strings that pull you. Every word you speak under pressure is a confession, a signal that your emotions own you more than you own them. That's where most men lose the game before it even starts. They speak to be understood, while the powerful speak to influence. And sometimes, they don't speak at all. Machiavelli taught that appearances matter more than truth, because perception is reality. The man who learns to manipulate perception without exposing emotion becomes untouchable. This is the essence of dark psychology. Mastering silence not as passivity but as precision. You let others believe they're in control while you quietly shape their beliefs. You lead not by force but by the illusion of choice. Understand this. Silence isn't absence, it's dominance in disguise. The loud man seeks attention, the silent man attracts it. When you withhold words, you force others to fill the void with their imagination. And imagination, my friend, is far more powerful than explanation. People will project stories onto you. Let them. The more they assume, the less they know. And the less they know, the more they fear. This is how you control without appearing to control. You speak only when necessary, and when you do, your words strike like steel, precise, calculated, final. That's masculine stoicism in its purest form. Emotion buried beneath discipline, fire concealed behind calm. It's not about suppressing feeling, it's about weaponizing it. You must become so emotionally centered that no insult, no doubt, no betrayal can move you. That is psychological warfare won through silence. When you no longer rush to defend yourself, you rise above those trapped in reaction. They speak to survive the moment. You stay silent to own the outcome. They fight for validation. You move in stillness and the world bends to your rhythm. That's control. That's cold power. Remember, silence is not emptiness. It's energy. It gathers, grows, and waits for the moment to strike. Comment below if you feel this transformation beginning. I control through calm. Number 2. The art of indifference. Indifference is the final form of strength. It's not that you don't feel, it's that nothing has permission to disturb your internal empire. The weak crave reaction, the strong master detachment. When you stop caring about being liked, understood, or accepted, you become something far more dangerous, unpredictable. Indifference is not apathy, it's control over your energy. Every time you react to disrespect, to judgment, to gossip, you pour fuel into the fire that burns your peace. But when you meet chaos with calm, you rob it of its power. Machiavelli understood that the ruler who shows too much emotion invites rebellion. The same is true for you. When you remain unmoved, the world becomes your chessboard. People begin to orbit you, not because you chase them, but because they can't figure you out. That confusion breeds fascination, and fascination breeds power. The art of indifference is not built overnight. It's forged through silence, solitude, and self-command. It's when you stop explaining, stop defending, and start observing. You begin to see that most conflicts are invitations to waste your energy. Decline them. Let others drown in their own noise while you build your fortress in silence. The one who needs to be heard is already losing. The one who needs to be seen is already exposed. You, however, must learn to move like smoke, untouchable, ungraspable, yet always present. You never argue, you never chase, you never beg. You let detachment become your armor and mystery your weapon. Indifference makes you magnetic because people are drawn to what they cannot control. They will test you, provoke you, try to decode you. Let them. When you react, they win. When you stay silent, they weaken. Eventually, they adapt to your stillness, and that's when control shifts. You rule not by domination, but by absence, by being the calm center in their storm. That's how kings are born in a world of slaves to emotion. So remember this: the man who cannot be provoked cannot be defeated. Let this truth burn into your mind, and comment below to prove you understand. My calm commands respect. Number 3, the shadow of power. Power isn't light. It isn't kindness. It isn't earned through fairness or mercy. Power is shadow, the unseen force that bends perception, reshapes reality, and manipulates obedience without ever being revealed. Most men fear their own shadow because they haven't learned to control it. But those who master it understand. Darkness isn't evil, it's efficiency. The light blinds, the shadow observes. Power thrives where others hesitate, in silence, in patience, in calculation. To be powerful, you must stop chasing approval and start embracing your darker nature, the part of you that sees manipulation not as cruelty, but as strategy. You cannot rule the world by playing nice in it. The game of dominance is not about morality, it's about mastery. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must learn how not to be good and still appear good when it benefits him. That's the essence of dark psychology, controlling what others see while quietly pulling the strings behind the curtain. Your shadow is not your enemy, it's your unspoken advantage. When you understand people's fears, you can lead them. When you grasp their desires, you can direct them. Most of humanity is predictable, ruled by emotion, enslaved by validation, addicted to noise. You must rise above that. You must become the silent strategist who listens more than he speaks, studies before he strikes, and never reveals intent until it's too late for others to counter it. Control isn't about domination, it's about anticipation. You win, not because you're stronger, but because you move first in the mind. This is why your silence terrifies them. When you say nothing, they start hearing everything. When you show no emotion, they start imagining all of them. The human mind cannot live with uncertainty. It fills in the blanks. That's where you operate best. You let them build their own prisons of doubt and curiosity while you stay still, untouched, unreadable, untouchable. That's the shadow's art, invisibility disguised as indifference. The greatest power is not being seen while shaping what others see. Do not fear manipulation, fear being the one manipulated. Learn to control emotions, both yours and theirs. That is the real empire, ruling the unseen. Every move calculated, every silence intentional, every reaction delayed until timing becomes your sword. Power is not in showing strength, it's in concealing it until revelation becomes devastation. That's how legends move. That's how rulers rise. Remember this, and comment if you feel the shadow awakening in you. I move unseen, yet everything moves because of me. Number 4, emotional detachment, the silent weapon. Emotional detachment is not about feeling nothing, it is about mastering everything. It is the art of owning your emotions instead of being owned by them. The majority of people are slaves to their reactions. They become predictable, fragile, and easy to manipulate because they are ruled by impulse. They lash out when provoked. They speak when they should stay silent. They explain when they should observe. The man who learns to detach, however, becomes something different, something dangerous. He becomes the observer in a world of reactors. He does not move from emotion, he moves from calculation. That is the foundation of cold power psychology, controlling your inner world so completely that no external chaos can touch it. Machiavelli would say, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But the deeper truth is this: when you are emotionally detached, you don't need either. You operate beyond the reach of both fear and love, above approval, beyond control. The detached man is not numb, he is aware. He studies anger, love, jealousy, pride, not as emotions to express, but as weapons to wield. He knows that the one who controls emotional tempo controls the outcome. When everyone else burns with reaction, he remains the ice that extinguishes the fire. That's how control is established, quietly, invisibly, without resistance. Detachment allows you to see clearly. It gives you X-ray vision into human weakness. You begin to notice how easily people expose themselves when they're emotional. Their tone shifts, their pupils widen, their breathing changes. Every reaction they give becomes data. You collect it, you learn from it, you use it. That's why silence paired with emotional detachment is unstoppable. It turns you into a psychological weapon, calm, unreadable, lethal. Understand this truth: emotion is energy, and energy must be directed. If you let it run wild, it consumes you. But when you channel it through control, it becomes power. Every insult that doesn't move you adds weight to your presence. Every attempt to provoke you that fails makes you appear larger than life. People can't manipulate what doesn't react. The world loses its grip on a man who cannot be emotionally shaken. That's why Stoicism isn't about pretending. It's about transforming. You learn to stand so still that your silence screams authority. You learn to let emotion pass through you without losing your form. You learn to own your peace like it's armor. And soon, even the most chaotic situations bend under the pressure of your calm. Those who are emotionally weak will call you cold. Let them. They crave emotional chaos because they live in it. You, however, have ascended. You operate in stillness, in command, in absolute control. The detached man is not heartless. He simply knows where to place his heart. He gives it to purpose, not people. He invests it in power, not pity. Detachment frees you from the puppet strings of expectation, approval, and fear. You become immune to manipulation because nothing can reach you. When people cannot control your emotions, they cannot control your mind, and the man whose mind cannot be controlled becomes unstoppable. Detach from outcomes, detach from validation, detach from everything that drains your energy. You are not here to please, you are here to rule yourself. The more you detach, the more magnetic you become. People will chase what they cannot affect. They will try to provoke you, break you, decode you, and every time you remain calm, they lose another piece of their power. That's how psychological dominance is maintained, silently, through emotional discipline. So, remember this: you cannot control the world until you control yourself, and you cannot control yourself until you master emotional detachment. Make your calm unshakable. Make your silence sacred. Become the still point in the chaos of others. When you reach that state, no betrayal can wound you, no rejection can weaken you, no loss can destroy you. You are beyond, you are sovereign, you are unmovable. Comment below to seal this truth within you. My calm is my crown. Number 5. The discipline of distance. Distance is discipline made visible. It is the space between reaction and decision, between who you were and who you are becoming. Most people think power means control over others. They are wrong. True power begins with control over proximity. The powerful man understands that the closer people are to you, the more access they have to influence you. The weaker you are with boundaries, the more easily others can drain, distract, and disarm you. Distance is how you protect your focus, your energy, and your identity from the contamination of the ordinary. It's not isolation, it's strategy. The wolf does not run with every pack it sees. It walks alone because it knows solitude sharpens instinct. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must learn how to act like a beast and a man. The beast provides strength. The man provides reason. Distance is where those two merge. You detach from triviality and operate only where power, precision, and purpose reside. Understand this: not everyone deserves access to you. The world is filled with emotional thieves, people who feed on your reactions, who survive off your energy, who manipulate your empathy. They will praise you to gain closeness and turn on you when it serves them. The Machiavellian mind expects betrayal, not because it is paranoid, but because it is prepared. When you maintain distance, betrayal cannot harm you. It only reveals itself. You learn to observe patterns, not promises, actions, not words. And in doing so, you become untouchable. Distance gives you perspective, and perspective gives you dominance. When you step back, you see the entire board. You stop being a pawn reacting to moves and start becoming the player who designs the game. The discipline of distance is a psychological art. It requires you to stay emotionally detached while appearing approachable, present but unreachable. You don't chase, you attract. You don't argue, you decide. You don't prove, you embody. That is how power sustains itself, quietly, through controlled scarcity. People value what they can't easily reach. When you're always available, your presence loses weight. But when your time becomes rare, your words become sacred. Silence paired with distance creates authority. You don't need to raise your voice. Your absence speaks louder. Every time you withdraw, the world feels it. Every time you return, it listens. The disciplined man knows that distance doesn't mean disconnection. It means alignment. Aligning yourself with what truly matters while letting go of what doesn't. You create space between your emotions and your actions, between your purpose and distractions, between your power and the world's noise. That distance is not coldness, it's composure. It is how you preserve your sanity in a world obsessed with chaos. Stoic men throughout history understood this. The more distance you keep from the crowd, the clearer your vision becomes. The closer you get to silence, the louder your intuition grows. You stop being reactive and start becoming intentional. Every move becomes measured, every word deliberate, every decision final. Distance is also the test of self-respect. When you walk away from what disrespects you, you teach the world how to treat you. The weak argue for attention, the strong withdraw it. You don't beg to be seen, and you become so grounded that being unseen becomes your strength. The man who can disappear at will holds power over those who cannot bear solitude. People will fear losing your presence, and that fear becomes influence. Distance creates demand, and demand creates power. The less you give, the more they want, but you must never misuse it. Control without restraint leads to corruption. Distance must always serve purpose, not pride. Practice this discipline daily. When anger calls, take a step back. When desire burns, breathe before you act. When chaos rises, withdraw before you react. Each pause becomes a declaration. I am not ruled by impulse. You become a man who moves only when it serves strategy. That is the pinnacle of masculine stoicism, responding from clarity, not emotion. The Machiavellian mind is not cruel, it is controlled. It sees beyond the moment, beyond the noise, into the long game of influence. When you master distance, you master yourself. You become calm in conversation, composed in conflict, and cold in manipulation. No one can lure you into emotional traps because your mind is already 10 steps ahead. Distance keeps your throne untouchable. No one can attack what they can't reach. The world will try to pull you back into its chaos, but you must remain immovable. The less you chase, the more you command. The less you react, the more you shape outcomes. Remember this truth and seal it within your mind. Your distance is not weakness, it's proof of control. Comment below to anchor this mindset deep into your psychology. My distance defines my dominance. Number 6, the language of power. Power has its own language. It is not spoken with words, but with presence. It is not declared, but felt. The mistake of the ordinary man is believing that influence comes from how loudly he speaks or how perfectly he argues. But the Machiavellian understands that true authority is communicated through silence, posture, timing, and tone. The language of power is unspoken confidence, the aura that says, "I don't need your approval because I already know my worth." Every move you make, every pause you take, every glance you give, it all speaks louder than 1,000 explanations. Those who master this language can lead men, command respect, and dominate any room without uttering a single word. The first dialect of power is composure. It is the ability to remain still when others shake. Most men reveal their weakness in moments of pressure. They stutter, they fidget, they rush to fill silence with nervous words. But the powerful man uses silence as a mirror. He lets the other reveal themselves. His stillness makes people uncomfortable because it forces them to confront their own lack of control. When you speak less, you force others to lean in. They start reading your face, your eyes, your energy. You make them chase your thoughts. That is psychological dominance, disguised as humility. The second dialect of power is precision. When you speak, speak like a blade, sharp, clean, decisive. Never ramble, never justify. The Machiavellian mind speaks only when it serves a purpose. Every word must have intent behind it. Most people speak to release emotion. You must speak to create reaction. Learn to use words the way a strategist uses weapons, rarely, but with impact. When you say little, your words gain weight. They echo longer, they pierce deeper. The one who talks less always seems wiser, and perception of wisdom often matters more than wisdom itself. That's the cruel beauty of human psychology. People believe what they feel, not what is true. Your tone, rhythm, and composure will convince them long before logic ever does. The third dialect of power is restraint. To know you can speak, but choose silence. That is real control. The weak man talks to defend his ego. The strong man stays silent to preserve his power. Restraint makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability breeds respect. When people don't know what you're thinking, they begin to overthink. They analyze your silence, they project intentions, they fear your reaction. You control them without effort. This is why the most intimidating men in history rarely raised their voices. They made others raise theirs. They led through calm, not chaos. Power is never loud. It's steady, deliberate, surgical. The fourth dialect of power is timing. Even truth, spoken at the wrong time, becomes weakness. The Machiavellian waits for moments of maximum impact. He understands that words are not weapons unless they are released with precision and patience. You must learn to master pause, that cold, deliberate silence before you answer, before you act, before you decide. It unsettles people. It communicates thought, control, superiority. When everyone else rushes, you wait. When they panic, you breathe. When they plead, you remain still. That pause alone separates leaders from followers, predators from prey. The man who controls timing controls perception. And perception, once again, is reality. The fifth dialect of power is presence. It's not about what you wear or how you look. It's about the energy you emit. Power is carried in the spine, in the eyes, in the pace of your movement. Move slowly, speak intentionally, breathe deeply. A man in control of his body projects control over his world. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Your presence must remind people that you do not need to belong. You choose to be here. Stand like a king among the restless. Sit like you own the ground beneath you. This is not arrogance, it's psychological conditioning. People follow the one who appears unshaken. They trust stability because it makes them feel safe, even if they don't realize it. You become the anchor in their storm. The sixth dialect of power is mystery. Never let anyone fully read you. Once they do, they can predict you. And once they can predict you, they can control you. Keep your motives clouded, your emotions hidden, your plans layered. Speak in implication, not confession. Let people wonder what you know, what you intend, what you're capable of. Mystery keeps them invested. It makes them chase clarity you'll never give. The moment you become transparent, you become replaceable. The man of mystery commands curiosity, and curiosity is one of the most powerful psychological levers in existence. People will forgive cruelty before they forgive boredom. Never be boring. The language of power is not something you learn once. It's something you live. Every day is an opportunity to refine your communication, not just with others, but with yourself. Power begins internally. Speak to yourself like a ruler. Train your inner dialogue to align with strength, not doubt. Your subconscious listens to every word you whisper in your mind. If you speak weakness, you create weakness. But when your inner voice speaks authority, the world eventually mirrors it. Every word you think must move in rhythm with control, confidence, and purpose. That's the true rhythm of the psyche, the rhythm of power. This is why your channel, Psych-Rhythm, exists. To remind men that mastery is psychological before it is physical. Power starts in the mind and radiates through silence, through stillness, through self-command. Learn to communicate without words, to influence without effort, to dominate without aggression. That is the highest art of Machiavellian philosophy, to move men by simply being. Never forget, every interaction is a negotiation of power. Every conversation is a battlefield of perception. And in this battlefield, the man who speaks less and observes more always wins. Power is never about noise, it's about narrative. Control that, and you control everything. Now take this truth and burn it into your psyche. You are not here to explain, you are here to express power. Speak less, observe more. Let your silence become language, your calm become dominance, your distance become magnetism. Comment below to mark your transformation. My silence commands attention. Number 7. The fortress mind, invincible mental power. You will build a mind that cannot be moved, not by chaos, not by praise, not by the petty storms of life. This is not about shutting down, it is about opening into a higher order of strength. Begin with silence. Let it be the foundation stone. In silence, you learn the shape of your thoughts. In silence, you discover which impulses belong to you and which arrived as echoes from others. Train yourself to pause before you answer. Pause until your breath measures your intent. In that pause, your power grows. Discipline your attention the way a craftsman sharpens a blade, deliberately, patiently, without anger. Direct it to what matters, to skill, to craft, to quiet strategy, and deny it to noise. When you protect where your attention goes, you protect what you become. Build rituals that sanctify your time, morning routines that center, evenings that clear, movement that steadies. A fortress mind is a practiced mind. Repetition carves corridors in the brain where calm moves easily and distraction gets lost. Learn to steward emotion rather than suppress it. Name what you feel. Allow it a moment to be seen and then choose the action that honors your purpose, not the action that relieves the feeling. This is not numbness, it is refinement. It is strength that chooses rather than reacts. Anchor yourself in principle. Define truth for yourself by your standards, responsibility, competence, clarity, and let those standards guide your steps. When the world offers easy comforts, you will remember the covenant you made with your future self and choose what grows power over what offers pleasure. Practice self-honesty without cruelty. See your errors as data, not as identity. Repair quickly. Learn faster. The fortress mind is adaptive because it is honest. Surround the inner citadel with boundaries that are simple and kind. Boundaries are not walls of hate, they are fences that preserve energy. They let you give fully to what deserves your best and save you from depleting what does not. Speak fewer commitments, honor the ones you make. Let your yes be meaningful and your no be steady. This trains others to respect your time without you having to demand it. Cultivate selective exposure. Curate the voices you listen to, the news you consume, the company you keep. Energy is contagious. Choose wisely. The habit of selective exposure is the quiet architecture of mental resilience. Strengthen your capacity for delayed gratification. Do what is necessary now so that future moments become spacious. The small sacrifices you make for discipline compound into a life that moves with momentum rather than friction. This is how long-game power is accumulated. through patient, repeated choices that stack advantage over months and years, not through feverish bursts that burn out fast. Embrace solitude as training ground. Solitude is where you meet your real self, test your convictions, and rehearse courage. In solitude, you practice giving yourself the answers you used to seek from others. In solitude, you cultivate integrity until it becomes the easiest path. Train your body. The fortress mind needs a strong vessel. Sleep to consolidate gain, move to sharpen clarity, eat to nourish endurance. Physical discipline feeds mental gravity. The man who neglects the body weakens the mind's command center. Learn the craft of clear speech. When you do speak, let each word map to purpose. Speak plainly, without excess flourish, so that your voice becomes a tool of clarity rather than a vent of anxiety. Practice concise expression in private and in public until clarity becomes reflex. This reduces miscommunication and builds a reputation of reliability. And reliability is a currency people trade for trust. Practice compassion as strength, not as weakness. Compassion clarifies motive and clears the fog of resentment. It does not mean tolerating toxicity. It means understanding human frailty while protecting your purpose. You can be firm and humane at once. This combination is disarming and durable. Build systems that outlast mood, checklists for important work, routines for growth, structures that convert intention into habit. Systems prevent the tyranny of emotion. They turn good days and bad days into steady progress. Invest in knowledge quietly. Competence is the silent armament of influence. Learn broadly, then practice deeply. Skills grant options, and options grant the freedom to choose calmly under pressure. Keep a ledger of small victories and lessons learned. When doubt arrives, you will have proof of your capacity. Practice gratitude without sentimentality. Recognize what you have earned and what you are owed by effort, not by fate. Gratitude sharpens perspective and reduces the noise that steals clarity. Train your imagination toward constructive ends. Rehearse your responses to challenges. Visualize the disciplined steps you will take rather than the chaotic outcomes you fear. Preparation quiets adrenaline and focuses will. Learn to steward relationships with intention. Bring value, demand respect, avoid codependency. Let your presence improve others and reserve your deepest trust for those who have earned it over time. Be generous with competence, scarce with intimate access. Treat every failure as an instruction. When setback comes, catalog what changed, adapt the plan, then act with renewed focus. Fortitude is the repetition of recovery. Celebrate the motion of repair. Keep time as your ally. Plan in horizons, the day, the week, the year, the decade. Anchor decisions in long-run value. The mind that thinks in timeframes is less shaken by single events and more aligned with legacy. Practice ethical sovereignty. Command your life with principles that do not rely on coercion. Your influence should grow because you are disciplined and reliable, not because you exploit weakness. This is power that is sustainable and respected. When you are provoked, ask first, will reaction serve my purpose? If the answer is no, do nothing that costs you energy and grants the moment to others. If the answer is yes, proceed with measured force aligned to outcome, not ego. Rehearse the voice of your future self and choose to act in its name. Leave room for mystery in your life. Do not disclose every plan, every motive, every feeling. Mystery is not a tool of domination when used ethically. It is the natural consequence of self-respect and wise discretion. Ask yourself daily, what would a sovereign, composed version of me do right now? Then do it. Repeat this until it becomes the reflex. Now take this and make it practical. Write a commitment to one discipline you will honor for the next 30 days and protect it with the same seriousness you protect your life. Start small, build momentum. Comment below with your phrase of power, a unique sentence you will carry into the next 30 days. Write it now so the world witnesses your pledge. I build calm into habit. Repeat that line to yourself each morning. Repeat it when you waver. Let the phrase be a beacon that returns you to center. If this landed with you, write another short phrase that claims your progress. My fortress grows with every choice. Keep it visible. Anchor your intention in action. If you want more of this, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so Psygrythm keeps sending you disciplined instruction and steady reminders. Comment that final phrase one more time at the end so you own it aloud. My fortress stands unshaken. Number 8. The mirror of mastery, commanding the self. Mastery begins not in the world, but in the mirror. Every empire you wish to build, every influence you hope to command, every ounce of authority you desire, all of it begins and ends with the reflection staring back at you. You cannot control others until you can control the one within. The mirror is where illusions die. It shows no lies, no distractions, no applause, only the truth of what you've built and what you've avoided. The weak avert their gaze because they fear recognition. The strong confront it daily. When you face the mirror without flinching, you begin to understand that self-mastery is not about perfection. It's about ownership. It's standing before your reflection and saying, everything here is my creation, every scar, every victory, every flaw, mine. That ownership transforms shame into power. Responsibility becomes your weapon. You must study yourself as you would study an adversary, calmly, objectively, without pity. Observe your tendencies. Notice how your emotions rise and fall, how your mind reacts to pressure, how your body signals fatigue or deceit. Awareness is the first form of control. When you know your patterns, you can redirect them. The man who studies himself daily becomes unpredictable to everyone else. That is the first step toward invincibility, knowing yourself better than anyone could use against you. This is where Machiavellian realism meets Stoic wisdom, the art of perceiving yourself without illusion and using that perception to refine your discipline. You do not need to become flawless. You need to become aware enough to never repeat the same mistake blindly. The fortress mind you built is nothing without the mirror to maintain it. Reflection polishes power. The mirror of mastery also reveals your inner language. Every day, your subconscious listens to your self-talk like a loyal soldier waiting for orders. The words you whisper shape your reality. If you tell yourself you are unready, the mind believes it. If you tell yourself you are precise, patient, and powerful, the mind aligns with it. The fortress must be guarded from within. Your thoughts are the gatekeepers. Never allow self-doubt to speak unchecked. Train your inner voice to be firm, logical, and aligned with progress. Replace "I hope" with "I execute." Replace "I'll try" with "I will." Each word reprograms the nervous system for resilience. The Machiavellian strategist inside you knows that control begins with internal communication. To command others, command your internal army of thoughts. Every day you face resistance from people, from circumstances, from your own fears. But resistance is not the enemy, it's the architect of greatness. The mirror of mastery demands that you interpret struggle as feedback. When something challenges you, your reflection asks, will you bend or will you sharpen? Pain is information. It exposes the weaknesses still hiding in your armor. Instead of resenting it, study it. Every discomfort shows you where you are still reactive. Each challenge is an invitation to rise above instinct and act with intention. The calm man reads resistance the way a general reads terrain. He uses it to plan, not panic. The weak man avoids difficulty. The strong man extracts data from it. That is the essence of psychological evolution, turning friction into blueprint. Another layer of mastery lies in ritual discipline. Power without ritual dissolves into chaos. Every morning, return to the mirror. Stand straight, breathe deep. Reaffirm your principles, not in words alone, but in posture. The body remembers what the mind forgets. Keep your shoulders back, your gaze level, your breath steady. This physical command communicates to your subconscious that you are not prey to circumstance. That posture is your first language of leadership, silent, strong, deliberate. When you carry yourself as if you command respect, the world adjusts accordingly. Your environment mirrors your energy. Machiavelli observed that people judge not by truth, but by appearance. Yet true mastery means creating an appearance that aligns with substance. Do not pretend, embody. Your stillness must come from control, not exhaustion. Your calm must come from clarity, not apathy. Your confidence must come from competence, not fantasy. Build so deeply within yourself that the reflection in the mirror feels inevitable. There will come a day when you look at your reflection and realize you've become the man you used to imagine. On that day, you will understand that mastery was never about domination. It was about alignment. In the mirror of mastery, you will also confront your fears. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of insignificance. You do not destroy fear by denial. You dissolve it through exposure. Stand before it. Name it. Analyze it. Fear thrives on vagueness. When you define it, it loses form. When you act despite it, it loses power. Each time you move forward under pressure, your reflection changes. It becomes steadier, colder, more deliberate. Courage is not loud, it's consistent. It's the decision to continue, refined into habit. True mastery also demands emotional intelligence, not softness, but strategy. Emotions are signals, not instructions. When you feel anger, do not suppress it. Study its source. When you feel envy, let it reveal your unclaimed potential. When you feel pride, measure it against progress. The mirror shows all, but the wise man interprets. He uses every feeling as information. He knows that emotions are tools, not chains. This is the synthesis of stoic composure and dark realism. Understanding your inner storms so completely that they can never shipwreck you again. Discipline is the bridge between understanding and transformation. Without it, insight dies in theory. Each day, the mirror waits for proof, not excuses. You must execute your principles until they become muscle memory. The fortress mind is maintained through repetition, reflection, correction, execution. Review your day before sleep. Ask yourself, did my actions reflect my intent? If not, refine. The mirror will never lie, but it will always forgive. As long as you return with the will to improve. In time, your reflection becomes an ally. You no longer see flaws, you see feedback. You no longer see limits, you see training grounds. The mirror no longer intimidates, it instructs. And that is when mastery becomes natural, when self-awareness transforms into instinct, when power ceases to be an act and becomes identity. The man who can look into his own eyes without flinching commands not only himself, but the perception of everyone around him. People trust what is centered, they follow what is certain, they yield to what is unmoved. The mirror of mastery is not vanity, it is verification. It proves you are no longer pretending to be disciplined. You are discipline. You are no longer striving for control. You are control. And through that alignment, you radiate a silent gravity that words can't imitate. This is not arrogance. This is inner sovereignty. Now, as you stand before that invisible mirror, wherever you are, whatever battles you face, remember this. The mind you command today becomes the reality you live tomorrow. Keep sharpening, keep studying, keep evolving. You are the architect, the strategist, the reflection, and the ruler. Comment below to seal this transformation into your reality. I command myself, therefore, I command my world. Number 8. The Ascension, becoming untouchable. There comes a moment when striving hardens into knowing, when noise fades and what remains is a pulse of calm resolve. The journey that began with ambition ends in discipline. The one who ascends understands this. To be untouchable is not to be beyond reach, but to be beyond disturbance. It is to move through the world like weather, felt, undeniable, yet answerable to no one's command. Ascension is not conquest. It is clarity under pressure. It is the art of standing so rooted in principle that no wind can bend you. The climb begins in silence, where you decide, finally and without apology, who you are. Not what the world calls you, not what your past suggests you might be, but who you choose to become when all disguises are stripped away. That decision, once made, is a covenant. It becomes the architecture of your days. Every action, every word, Every thought is either construction or corrosion. The man who ascends plans his life as a general plans a campaign, with precision, foresight, and ruthless honesty about the terrain. He looks at the days ahead, not as hours to be filled, but as moves to be made. Each sunrise is a new theater of discipline. Each night, a quiet debrief with himself. What advanced the mission? What betrayed it? What must change tomorrow? There is no room here for defense of the past. Yesterday is not a courtroom, it is a classroom. Regret wastes energy that could have been used for refinement. You correct, not lament. You build, not brood. Ascension is not found in grand gestures or fiery declarations. It is found in a man sitting alone before dawn, writing his priorities with precision, aligning his actions with intention, and refusing to drift. To live untouchable, you must root yourself in a creed, not a paragraph of poetic promises, but a handful of principles that hold under pressure. Write them plainly. I act with integrity. I protect my focus. I serve purpose over applause. These sentences are not slogans. They are weapons. They sharpen the will. When the crowd shifts, when temptation knocks, when fatigue whispers compromise, your creed stands as law. You do not ask permission to live by it. You honor it because it honors you. The world reveres the rare man who cannot be bought or bent. He is rare not because he hides, but because he has anchored himself so deeply that approval and insult pass over him like weather on stone. When your life is aligned with your creed, external noise loses its leverage. Praise does not inflate you. Criticism does not collapse you. You answer to something eternal, something unbreakable, the law you wrote for yourself. But creed alone is not enough. A man's power rests on pillars: competence, courage, and compassion. Competence is the simplest form of respect. It means you have done the work. You've read, studied, practiced, failed, recalibrated, refined. You carry knowledge like a blade honed through repetition. Competence makes you credible without needing to explain yourself. It turns silence into authority. The untouchable man's confidence is not born of arrogance, but of evidence. He has earned the right to trust himself. Courage gives his competence motion. It is the willingness to act while afraid, to walk into the fog with steady breath. Courage is not loud, it's measured. It doesn't need bravado, it needs responsibility. It means saying, "This is mine to handle," and then handling it. It means repairing your mistakes fast before they rot into excuses. It means knowing fear is not an enemy but a compass. It points you toward the frontier of your growth. And then there is compassion, the third pillar, the one often mistaken for weakness. But the higher you climb, the more you see. Coldness is fragility in disguise. True strength understands suffering without drowning in it. Compassion is the ability to stand firm yet gentle, to lead without crushing, to correct without humiliating. The man who has ascended knows that others fight unseen wars. He does not mock struggle, he guides it. Power without compassion corrodes, but power balanced by empathy becomes unshakable. Together, competence, courage, and compassion forge sovereignty that outlasts storms. To remain sovereign, you must design systems that protect your clarity. The world is engineered to fracture focus, to bait you into distraction, to replace purpose with noise. But the ascended man architects his environment. He trains his body like a soldier, because the body is the vessel of will. Movement sharpens the mind. Sleep becomes strategy. Food becomes fuel. You don't chase aesthetics, you chase endurance. The mirror is not the proof. The morning energy, the evening calm, the ability to perform under strain, that is the evidence of discipline. Every day becomes ritual. The quiet morning where you set intention before the world awakens. The work blocks where focus becomes meditation. The evening reflections where lessons are extracted and catalogued. You remove friction from what matters most. You automate excellence. You engineer your space so that the right choice is the easiest one. This is the secret of the untouchable. He does not depend on motivation. He depends on design. Stillness is the byproduct of order. Chaos preys on disorganization, on cluttered rooms and cluttered minds. But when you align your systems, your schedule, your environment, your inputs, the noise fades. You begin to move through the day with quiet precision. That stillness is not absence of motion, it is mastery of it. Boundaries emerge as the geometry of peace. To be untouchable, you must know where you end and others begin. Boundaries are not barriers, they are lines of clarity. You protect your attention as you would protect your pulse. You say less because speech is energy. You say yes only where your whole being aligns, and no without guilt where it does not. The man who respects his own limits becomes reliable, and reliability is magnetic. He does not repel others, he teaches them how to relate to him. Through calm consistency, not control. When you protect your space, you become a gravitational field. The unreliable drift away, the disciplined draw near. You stop defending your peace, it defends itself. Your presence begins to organize the chaos around you. That is what it means to be untouchable. Not isolation, but resonance. Time too becomes sacred. You stop living for reaction and start living for rhythm. You think in horizons. Today, this quarter, this decade. You ask what will matter in 10 years, then act accordingly. This kills the panic of the present. You begin to see how small most urgencies are when measured against a decade. The ascended man plays the long game. He invests his attention in compounding assets, skills, reputation, character. His victories are slow, quiet, permanent. He understands that impatience is a tax on greatness. Every decision either compounds or corrodes. The untouchable man builds slowly because he builds to last. When you learn to pace your power, endurance replaces anxiety. You no longer sprint through life, you march through it. To command your life, you must command your emotions. Emotional sovereignty is the quiet engine of mastery. Feelings arise like weather. They cannot be stopped, but they can be navigated. The untouchable man does not suppress emotion. He studies it. He names anger, traces fear, sits with sadness, and learns their language. He feels deeply, but acts deliberately. The difference between reaction and response is the space in which composure is born. When provoked, he pauses. When insulted, he observes. When praised, he thanks, but does not feed on it. The steady man is trusted because steadiness is rare. People follow those who do not flinch. They sense safety in composure. Emotional mastery makes you the calm eye in every storm. Humility anchors it all. The higher you rise, the more the world will tempt you to forget the soil you grew from. But visible humility and invisible resolve create balance. You admit error quickly, repair it publicly when necessary, and attribute success generously. The ascended man is not loud about his power, because true power is self-evident. He does not need spectacle. His results speak. His presence teaches more than his speech. Legacy begins when ego ends. When your effort starts creating value that outlives you, you have crossed from success into significance. You mentor not for glory, but for continuity. You build systems others can inherit. You become a gardener of potential, planting trees whose shade you may never sit under. This is the final form of sovereignty, to elevate others without diminishing yourself. Curiosity sustains the climb. The untouchable mind remains a student. Certainty breeds arrogance. Curiosity breeds expansion. You read not to confirm, but to question. You seek teachers in every season. You experiment, adjust, and evolve. The man who stops learning ossifies. The one who stays open remains young no matter his age. Curiosity is humility in motion. It says, I do not yet know enough, and in that admission, you grow invincible. Service is the unseen crown. The greatest presences lead by example, not decree. Their standard lifts others without demand. Influence becomes a quiet contagion. You do not coerce improvement, you embody it. Your life becomes the invitation for others to rise. This is the essence of untouchability, when your integrity becomes instruction, and so you choose your creed. You speak it aloud, you let it etch itself into your bones. I live by principle, not applause. I am composed. I am relentless. These are not affirmations, but reminders. You repeat them not to convince yourself, but to calibrate yourself. Each time doubt whispers, you answer with truth. Each time fatigue arrives, you recall your mission. Words, when lived, become identity. If this message sharpens your intent, seal it with action. Do not let it remain inspiration. Make it a rule. You ascend not in a moment, but in a pattern. You rise by small, repeated victories over distraction, over laziness, over fear. Day by day, you build the architecture of an untouchable life. Because in the end, ascension is not about being above others. It is about being above chaos, above dependence, above fragility. It is about owning your time, your focus, your reactions, and your creed. To be untouchable is to move through life grounded, disciplined, compassionate, and awake. It is to become the kind of presence that cannot be shaken, because every part of you has been tested, refined, and made deliberate. You do not need to be loud. You do not need to be seen. You only need to be steady. And in that steadiness, you will find something beyond power, peace. So go now. Ascend quietly. Build without announcement. Let your discipline speak, your character echo, your results whisper your name in rooms you have not yet entered. You are not waiting to become sovereign. You are already becoming it in every small, intentional act. This is the untouchable life, calm in the storm, precise in motion, unshakable in essence. The world cannot touch what is built from within. You ascend by discipline.